Welcome everyone, my name is Mist, and this video is part of a series on EVE Online combat. This video will be covering the basics of how combat works. The purpose of EVE combat is to blow up the enemy ship. So you lock onto the targets, activate your weapons and hope you kill the opponent before he kills you. It's that simple. More complex, however, are the parameters that regulate combat. There are some very important factors you need to be aware of in order to fight effectively. Don't worry if you don't understand everything immediately, some of these parameters can become quite complex to manage. I've also omitted some information to prevent overcomplicating things. There are a lot of ways of dealing damage, but the most common ways are by using turrets or launchers. These are the weapons that people are most familiar with and are used the most in EVE. I will go over the basic factors you need to consider when firing a turret or a missile. The TLDR is simple. Keep the target within optimal range, use the appropriate sized module, make use of the bonuses your ship provides, and always keep moving. If you follow these simple rules, you will be ready to start killing stuff. Kuma! I will now explain where these rules come from. This will be a slightly more in-depth look at both turrets and missiles. I will start with missiles. There are three factors that influence your missile damage: range, velocity, and signature radius. So depending on how far, how fast, and how big your target is, your damage will vary. First up is range. All missiles have a maximum flight time and a maximum velocity. So just multiply those and you will get the maximum range of the missile. If you hover your mouse over your launcher, the game will do the math for you automatically. Missiles cannot miss. As long as the target is within your range, you will hit it. If the target is out of range, however, you will do no damage at all. Secondly, velocity. If your target is moving, doesn't matter what direction, the damage of the missile will be reduced. The velocity of the target will be compared against your missile's explosion velocity. So if you want to hit fast targets, try increasing your explosion velocity. Lastly, signature radius. Signature radius, or SIG as it is often called, is the size of your ship. Your missile's explosion radius will be compared to it. If the signature of the target ship is higher, then you will do bonus damage. If it is smaller, your damage will be reduced. So be careful when trying to shoot small targets with big missiles. These factors also work the other way around. If you stay out of range, have a very small signature radius, or have a very fast ship, missiles will be useless against you. Next up are turrets. These are probably the most popular weapons in all of EVE. Unlike missiles, turrets can miss their targets. Much of their damage depends on whether or not you can hit the target. Turret damage is both determined by the hit chance and the raw damage of the turret. If you miss, you will do no damage. And the hit chance also has a direct influence in how much of the raw damage gets increased or decreased. All things involving hit chance are more commonly referred to as tracking. The three factors that affect turret tracking are range, angular velocity, and signature radius. First up is range. Within optimal range, a turret will have a 100% hit chance, for the range part that is. If you add your fall to your optimal, your chance to hit will be reduced to 50%. And after you get to optimal, plus twice the fall off range, you will only have about a 5% chance to hit. Second is angular velocity. Angular velocity is often called transversal. This is not entirely the same, but in EVE it refers to the same thing, side-to-side motion. Transversal is always the same for both targets. All turrets have tracking value, which shows how fast or how slow the target needs to be going for the turret to be able to hit its target. If the target is closer to you, their turning circle will be smaller and their angular velocity will be higher, and turrets with higher tracking will be needed to hit the target. If you want to hit something, you want the angular velocity to be as low as possible. The reverse is also true. If you want to avoid getting hit, keep up your angular velocity. Lastly, signature radius. All turrets have a built-in signature resolution, which is compared to the target signature radius. This has an effect on the tracking and thus the hit chance. So targets with a bigger sig are easier to hit. Targets with a small signature may be impossible to hit. Signature radius is the reason why using the right size weapon for the right target is so important. Ships and weapons come in 4 different sizes in EVE. There are the small weapons, which are used on frigates and destroyers, mediums, which are cruisers and battle cruisers, large, the battleships, extra large, all the capital ships like carriers and dreadnoughts and titans. The rule is that the same size weapons are used on a ship of the same size and are best used against a ship of the same size. Using a weapon that is too big for a target that is too small will result in severe penalties, but punching up is usually not a problem. This concludes my video on the basics of EVE combat. My name is Mist, and thank you for watching. In future videos I will go into the specifics of the weapon systems that are used in EVE Online. Feel free to leave any comments or corrections.